Welcome to the world of bots, the world of NPCs, where everyone is controlled and programmed to do exactly what the system has programmed them to do. You probably would disagree because since you're a bot, you won't be able to tell, but something that has been programmed to do something just doesn't and isn't self-aware that it's just a bot. But who am I to point out bots, because obviously every person is the main character in their point of views. But although people may be slightly different, most of them act the same. They accept and normalize whatever culture and the blinded society puts in their face. They just follow the crowd, doing things because society says it's cool, blindly following trends, not having a sense of independence and just doing what everyone does. People like that can be spotted out very easily. Well, unless you're one of them. So my job here is to simply show you the truth. So think of me as Morpheus from the Matrix. You live in a world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth.
What truth?
That you're a slave like everyone else. You're born in a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. This is your last chance. After this, there's no turning back. Click away this video, the story ends, you go back to La La Land and believe whatever you want to believe. Continue to watch this video until the end and I'll show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth. Nothing less, nothing more. Everything out there, whether you call it the Matrix, the Freemasons, the Illuminati or the elites, the higher ups who control this world. If you've watched my video about aliens and ancient Egyptian gods, you should know that the source of all of the above are fallen angels leading to Satan himself. But that's a whole topic for another video. So whatever you wanna call it, everything out there that exists in the entertainment industry and media is done so with a purpose. They don't give you the news for free because they want you to be informed. They give you the news for free so that you can watch it, so they can tell you what to think. Every class that you learn in school, every TV program you watch, every website you find is designed to keep you in a box and controlled.
You don't know what it is. You don't know what that is.
What is it?
Come on, seriously. The time is up. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and I'm sick of it. I want everybody to be in on the joke, man. You know what I mean? For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to throw you off the track, to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on. They get out there in the woods in a circle naked and they decide these things, and look at them trying to help it out. It's hilarious. Hold on a second, this thing is buzzing. Hold on. They're trying to turn us into consumer drones. Yeah, listen, I'm in the middle of blowing the lid off some
What happened?
All movies and TV programs show predictive programming, meaning they show you things that are going to happen before they happen, and everything that happens is planned beforehand. And by doing this, they get our minds to unconsciously get used to and accept these evil agendas.
There's a novel from 1898 titled The Wreck of the Titan, or Futility. The book is about a giant unsinkable ship with not enough lifeboats that crashes into an iceberg and sinks 400 nautical miles from Newfoundland. What was the ship's name? The Titan. Sound familiar? Where the Titanic, a giant unsinkable ship, crashes into an iceberg and also sinks 400 nautical miles from Newfoundland.
In 1995, Steve Jackson created the Illuminati New World Order card game. And the card game was basically about the secret societies competing for world domination, and this game caught attention for its most obvious use of predictive programming. The cards had a drawing on them and a phrase relating to a future event. Let's just go through some of the cards. Firstly, we've got a card where a plane is crashing into two buildings. And this obviously is symbolizing 9/11. Look closely at this Enough is Enough card. This card is a drawing of Donald Trump, and it predicted that he was going to be president, and exactly what he went on to say in one of his speeches back in September of 2020.
Will say enough is enough.
These cards were released in 1995, and yet they've already predicted 2 events. You can't make this stuff up. What about this epidemic card with a bunch of medicine, a mask, and dead body bags with the word quarantine written on it? Pretty obvious, isn't it? The Control for Disease card pictures a scientist accidentally creating a deadly virus that ends up getting out. Look at the censorship card. Doesn't this card depict this whole war against free speech they're basically controlling what people are allowed to say and not, otherwise you get cancelled. This is no coincidence, and everyone who thinks it is have been mind manipulated. That's how they get bots to think. As children, we're already exposed to the entertainment industry because kids like to watch TV, so they catch us and enslave our minds at a very young age. You see, our brains are like sponges. They just absorb whatever we see and hear. Studies have shown that watching TV for a long period of time makes people stupider, and it also affects gray matter in the brain. Gray matter is the part of our brain that's responsible for our decision making, control, movement, memory, and emotions. A very interesting thing is gray matter has the shape of a butterfly in our brains. This is very important because this goes all the way back to MK Ultra mind control. If you don't know what MK Ultra is, MK Ultra was a secret CIA operation that started in the 1950s, and it consisted of experimenting on the minds of unwilling patients to develop a form of mind control in order for the person to act according to their desire. And they called their technique monarch programming. And monarch represents the monarch butterfly, which is just so happens to be the same shape of what gray matter looks like in our brains. And let me remind you, gray matter in our brain is responsible for decision making, control, movement, and emotions. See how strategically everything our brain consumes is designed. And this is not a coincidence, because TV shows, movies, and music can make a person cry, excited, happy, or stressed, which proves this is a form of MK Ultra. On top of that, most of Hollywood programs are partially or completely funded by the CIA, the same people who are responsible for the MK Ultra experiments. This doesn't sound like a coincidence to me. The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. All the media and everything that your mind is consuming has brainwashed you and influenced you how to think and act and made your mind a slave, turning everyone into bots that just follow and normalize whatever sinful agenda is being pushed. TV shows and kids shows promoting witchcraft and Satanism. And is it a coincidence that the whole entertainment media is constantly blaspheming Christianity but respects every other religion? Open your eyes, people. The devil doesn't fight against whatever is not the truth, removing the differences between men and women while people blindlessly follow suit, and as a result those who speak the truth are hated and put down. Think of all the celebrities that mysteriously died after trying to expose the agenda. This is why there's an attack on free speech, because if you do or say anything that goes against their agenda, then they delete you. Because all these celebrities are made to sell their souls, and their puppets being used to influence people, especially in the music industry.
That's how I got introduced to the music industry. Because I swear I wanted to be like the Amy Grant of music. Yeah. But it didn't work out, and so I sold my soul to the devil.
I mean, we see the same symbolism, the same imagery, the same agendas being pushed in the music, and every time you listen to it, your mind is consuming all this and keeping you a bot and unaware of what's truly happening. Haven't you ever seen that when a big artist releases a song, it's played everywhere repeatedly, on the radio, at parties, on social media, at the shops, on TV and advertisements, and all your friends know it, literally everywhere, and you hear it repeatedly on and on over again, where you get to the point whether you like the song or not, you already know the lyrics, which is a form of hypnosis. When you repeatedly play the same thing over and over again, and the message of that repeated playing controls your mind to conform to whatever agenda the song is pushing. That's why if you listen to a sad song repeatedly, you'll feel sad. If you listen to a hype song repeatedly, you feel hyped, and all the bots just consume whatever they've been given. Most people might deny that stuff like music and what they watch influence them, but it really does subconsciously. Everything we watched and listened to as a kid helped shape our personality and who we are today.
We are in control. We are not a political organization. We are an occult organization. We're working behind the scenes to manipulate the way that people think. The war that we are waging is a guerrilla war on the human mind. And we use musical frequencies, the dominant frequency, which I've referred to before, and symbolism and imagery to awaken dormant aspects of the human mind.
That's why you can tell a person's character easily by what they listen to and watch. I remember once when I was a child, I saw the movie Karate Kid, and right after watching that movie, I'd think of myself as a karate fighter and I'd start acting like one. They're keeping you entertained and distracted from the truth. Even with video games are designed to keep you distracted by unreal accomplishments that feed your dopamine, because all humans feel the need to want to accomplish something. So through video games, you sit there for hours and hours and you accomplish certain tasks, and that feeds your dopamine and you start to feel you have accomplished something. But when you put the device or the controller down, you get back into the real world and you realize that you haven't really done anything. You haven't really accomplished anything. You've just sat for hours doing nothing productive and numbed your brain. Talking about numbing your brain, how many hours a day do you spend on your cell phone? Do you get on your cell phone as soon as you wake up? Do you sleep with your cell phone beside you at night? We both know the answer to that. Literally everyone is addicted to their phones and social media. Everywhere you go, people are always looking down at their phones on social media. Psychologists have studied social media apps like Instagram and TikTok. TikTok, which is the app that has got most of our minds enslaved, where you continuously watch short videos and scroll up and down all day for hours and hours, pleasing your dopamine in the most unhealthy way, affecting your mental health and your attention span. Why do you think TikTok is owned by the Chinese government but it's banned in China? Psychologists have studied TikTok, and the way TikTok has been designed, how it's so addictive is they have designed it like one of those gambling slot machines where you win an enormous prize every now and then and it feeds your dopamine. That's why the algorithm moves in that scrolling up and down sequence like a slot machine.
This is the reason TikTok is so addictive. This app is designed to abuse your dopamine system. Dopamine is a chemical in our brain that drives the reward and motivation circuits, and our brain is designed to always want to get as much dopamine as possible. So this is what social media apps do. And this is exactly why an app like TikTok uses primarily short videos. Shorter videos means more videos. More videos means more dopamine. And so your brain starts to lose interest in doing anything else that gives it less dopamine, which is practically everything that exists in the world. Studying, working, even hanging out with your friends. And all that you really want to do is sit at home and watch TikTok videos because your brain is fried to the point where you don't have the attention span to do anything else.
I used to be a professional poker player, so I've spent a lot of time in casinos. And casinos sadly make most of their money from slot machines. They're cleverly designed to take advantage of an addiction method known as intermittent reinforcement, where most of the time it pays out nothing, but occasionally it pays out really big. And it's this unpredictability that has been shown to completely hijack the brain's dopamine reward system. And TikTok does exactly the same thing. Their algorithm is designed to just every now and then artificially boost your videos so that you get a little taste of of fame. And they especially do this to new accounts so that users get hooked very early on. They found the perfect dopamine hack to keep us coming back over and over, which in many ways is worse than casinos because most of the users on here are children.
They have you brainwashed and your mind controlled every single area to keep you a slave. Do you ever feel that your device can read your mind? When you're scrolling on social media, don't you ever feel like it's giving you exactly what you want to see, advertising to you exactly the things you like? When you're depressed, it gives you relatable depression videos and pictures, and when you're happy, it's the same thing. Like your device is spying on you and knows everything about you. Well, that's because it is. All your social media apps go through everything in your device. Matter of fact, all your information on your phone is recorded by either the elites or the social media apps just sell your information to them. The screen may be off, but it's recording everything.
Hacking has increasingly become what governments consider a legitimate investigative tool. They use the same methods and techniques as criminal hackers. And what this means is they will try to remotely take over your device. Once they do this, by detecting a vulnerability in the software that your device runs, such as Apple's iOS or Microsoft Windows, they can craft a special kind of attack code called an exploit. They then launch this exploit at the vulnerability on your device, which allows them to take total control of that device. Anything you can do on that device, the attacker, in this case the government, can do. They can read your email, they can collect every document, they can look at your contact book, they can turn the location services on, they can see anything that is on that phone instantly and send it back home to the mothership. They can do the same with laptops. The other prong that we forget so frequently is that in many cases they don't need to hack our devices. They can simply ask Google for a copy of our email box because Google saves a copy of that. Everything that you ever typed into that search box, Google has a copy of. Every private message that you've sent on Facebook, every link that you've clicked, everything that you've liked, they keep a permanent record of. And all of these things are available not just to these companies, but to our governments as they are increasingly deputized as sort of miniature arms of government.
Your social media apps have access to your camera and microphone. So they may be listening to you and filming you right now. You never know. Your camera may be always on. You never know. Whatever you're doing, your mic may be always on. They can hear whatever you're talking about. All your phone calls are recorded. They've got everything. And they make sure that you never know this. You wanna know why? Because the best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. You're a slave in all areas, even in what you're being taught. School teaches you to wake up every day in the morning and work for the government. It doesn't teach you to make money, it teaches you to work for money. And that results in you getting a degree, later getting a job and waking up every morning to go to work. Work hard, come back home, and it's the continuous cycle that never stops. And you only get paid just enough to keep you alive, so you're basically trapped at this point. You can't quit working or get as much as time to enjoy life and have fun, because you get paid just enough to keep you alive. And you will get a raise from time to time just to keep you excited or in hopes that things are getting better, but before you know it, your lifestyle has already caught up to what you earn again, keeping you in the same place. There's no escaping. This means you're gonna have to work hard your whole life until you're too old to. And by that time you have medical bills and have to have money for retirement, and you eventually die. And the cycle goes on and on. If you study the history of our education system, you can research about this from a guy named Ken Wilber. Our education system is still the exact same system that was developed by warlords and plantation owners to control slaves. It was developed specifically to keep the kids busy so they could get more work out of the slaves, and to train the children not to be creative, not to think for themselves, and to follow orders, to influence you how to think and what to think, keeping your mind trapped in a box, which is exactly what it is today.
Our education system is still the exact system that was developed by warlords and plantation owners to control slaves. It was developed specifically to keep the kids busy so they could get more work out of the slaves, more hours out of them, and to train the children not to be creative, not to think for themselves, and to follow orders. That is exactly what your education system is today. And
kids are sent to school at a very young age, and this cycle and way of life is built into them, trapping the children at a very young age to indoctrinate them in order to keep them trapped in a box. They control the school system. Those who are good at school are regarded as smart, and those who aren't are dumb. But why does knowing a bunch of useless knowledge like the Pythagoras theorem that I'll never use in my life get to decide who's smart and who's dumb? The all-A student is the one who's expected to be successful in life because according to school standards, they're smart. But this is never the case because most rich people in the world today didn't even finish school. Some dropped out of high school. Because school is designed to teach you to be an employee, it's important for a doctor or a lawyer so that you may work for the government for minimum wage. The main reason people struggle financially is because they spend years in school learning about nothing about money. So people just do what they've been indoctrinated. Go to school, get a secure job, and save money just to pay the bills and to keep yourself alive. This is slavery. Working hard to get money just to give it back. This makes people a slave to money. Slavery hasn't gone anywhere. The old way of slavery was the government would get slaves and make them work for free, and it's the same thing now. They get people and make them build things and work for money, but the government print all the money. So if the government can create as much as they want of something from thin air, and you give up your life for this thing that they can create from thin air as much as they want, you are still their slave. It's just they have blinded you and your mind has been manipulated that you don't realize all this. Let me tell you something. The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. If this doesn't wake you up, I don't know what will. I don't think you need any more proof to realize that you're a slave and you've always been one. You're all blinded by a false reality. The best way to keep a prisoner from escaping is to make sure he never knows he's in prison. Now I have done what I said I'd do, to give you the truth, and now you know it, but my mission isn't fully complete without me having to say, come to Jesus and repent of your sins, believe in your heart that he died for you, and repent, because it's the only way, only through him that you get to realize that it's Satan behind all this. I've given you the truth, and you can only see what this world truly is when you live above it, not a part of it. So whether you go back to being an NPC and a programmed slave of the system, it is you who deny the truth. And to those who have joined me against society's madness and have refused to live blindlessly in this fake reality that they have pulled over our eyes, I say to you, welcome to the resistance.